Hi, I'm Grandma Judy. I am 78 years old. I broke my arm. Wouldn't you know it, just as we're going into gardening season? Well, this is my second cast and it'll be off in about 3 or 4 more weeks. But in the meantime, I'm going to be starting some tomato plants. Now this I picked up at the grocery store, and it is a yellow pear heirloom variety tomato. The little bell yellows that are so wonderful in our salads. Well, guess what? They're really good dried, and you can add them to salsa, anything you want to add that splash of color to, and they're sweet and lovely. So, but I can take these lower branches here right off. Now I cut that at a slight angle. And because I actually want them to stay above the water line, not the stem, of course, but the leaf, I'll tuck them inside of here. And then I put all of that right down inside of the cone. You notice that the stem is kind of sticking out there. That's fine because it's going to be down in the water. And then I'm going to turn around here and I'm just going to pop it right down into the water. Now in just about 3 weeks, they should be well rooted. I can transfer them into dirt if I want to, put them in a big pot, which is usually what I do. But I can get much better rootings and this way. Now the wonderful thing about this is I'll end up with 5 times the tomatoes I would have gotten off of just the one plant. So in the past, it wasn't unusual for me to go down and buy, say, 10 of these plants here. In different varieties, and take them down and root them, then get them in dirt and sell them at the Saturday markets. I don't think I'm going to do that this year just because I have so much going on. But that doesn't mean I don't want some beautiful salads for my garden, because I do. And these low stems here, there's nothing about them that's going to help this plant. It's not. And they will never bear fruit unless you start them out, get them rooted, let them turn into their own tomato plant, and then they will produce hundreds and hundreds of tomatoes. Especially these little cherries. Oh, they are so productive. But what will happen in a few weeks, because, it was 32 outside this morning when I got up. It's supposed to be nicer later. But in just a few weeks, I'll be moving all of these tomatoes out into my garden. Now, because I broke my arm, I can't use a rototiller. There's some stuff I'm just not able to do. So unless I can hire somebody, and that's getting harder and harder to do, mostly because there seems to be real jobs out there, so people don't need the little side hustles that they did before. And I'm glad for that. I mean, we need our country to have real jobs. I'm not complaining about that at all. I'm just whiny because, I was able to get help and now I can't. Not because people don't want to work, or not because they didn't want to work, but because there wasn't, jobs with benefits and whatever. And now, with everything that's going on with the federal government making jobs, getting jobs going again, getting companies coming to our country and all of that. Well, that's starting to change. So it's a little harder for me to get labor to come over and give me a hand with my little projects, like transplanting my tomatoes into my aquaponics system here, so that I can have added tomatoes out in my garden this year. Now, I can leave them in the aquaponics system and they would grow, but they would not thrive, because this is a very small system. It is wonderful for doing greens, spinaches, cabbages, just anything like that, just kales, all of that, wonderful. But tomatoes and things that are bearing fruit take a lot of strength out of the ground. And so we really need to be able to keep them really well fertilized, well watered. On the other hand, they'll waterlog. A plant like this will waterlog pretty easily. And now all of these little stems that you're seeing here, I will let them go ahead and grow for a little bit longer, because they're all going to come off and be turned into tomato plants. Because this plant will actually be buried up to here. Move that so you can see it better, I'm sorry. This plant will be buried up to here because this whole stem will root. And by rooting, it will withstand the winds better, it will take up more nutrients, it will just be a bigger, better, healthier plant. And that's all I can possibly ask of it. So this little bell tomato here, it will turn out to be probably about 10 plants, which means I'll be giving tomatoes away to all my neighbors. I will also dehydrate a bunch. I like to make chutneys. I don't, I just do all kinds of dehydrated. Sorry about the stutter. I think it's something to do with being 78. Every now and then my mind goes, huh? I know, it is so not fair. But I guess it beats the alternative, which is being dead. But I do enjoy my garden. I hope you enjoy my garden. And aquaponics, I've got to tell you, is my wonder. Now, all winter long, I eat off of the aquaponics garden. I eat the cabbage, the spinach, the pok choy, the ginger. I even put some ginger in. I got little starts and I stuck it in. And I really enjoyed that in the middle of the winter, grating it up. And I made some candied ginger too, which was fun. But anyway, if it's green, it'll grow in this. If it bears fruit, it will grow in this, but it won't grow as well. So I like to start them in there because that way they get a nice big healthy root system going. And with a big healthy root system, I get big healthy plants. And I love that. So, but this little aquaponics system I got from Amazon. It was $130. It came with the pump. It did not come with the lights. And it's completely automated. Do you know what that means? That means I get to take vacations. And I do. I have taken off for 2 weeks and just left everything going. I came back and the only problem I had was a lot of my plants had gone to seed because they had gotten really big and gone to seed. And I'm like, okay. So I just let them go ahead and let the seeds mature, and I replanted it with their own seeds. So aquaponics is a really fun way for me, and it gives me fresh green vegetables that I can eat year-round that have 0 chemicals in them. How do I know that? Because I planted the seeds, I started the seeds, I know what I used, and I have got a fish tank. That's why it's aquaponics. The fish tank's full of about 30 goldfish that are between 3 inches and 1 inch long, about 50-50 on their sizing. And that's wonderful because the fish dirty up the water. The water then comes up into the tubes and through the pump, goes all the way through and all the way back down. And in that process, the water gets cleaned by the roots and the plants themselves. And then it goes back down into the tank. And once it's in the tank, the fish start it all over again and get it all dirtied up, and the pump picks it up and it's back up here all over again. It's great. And I can take a vacation even. Oh, it is so nice. But I hope you like aquaponics. I hope you like gardening, because you can cut down your grocery bill. And if you live in the city, all it takes is a little corner. You don't have to even be going out into a big garden. You can have this in a little corner. You can put a couple of pretty pots around it and grow either flowers or maybe some tomatoes and bell peppers and fun things that you like in your salads. And you can have your own salad bar. You can grow a salad bar. How's that? It's a lot of fun. It's not that expensive. Like I said, $130. And if you watch, I like to go to the grocery store and get inexpensive plants. Now this lovely plant here cost me a whopping $5. Yep. And I just started 4 more. And I'm going to be starting 1, 2, 3, at least 4 more again. So I'm going to have lots of tomatoes off of that. Or you can do what I used to do. I would go down and I would pick up, say, 6 to 10 of these. And I would take off all of these bottom shoots and start them in an aquaponic system. And then I would turn around, I'd take them to the Saturday market, and I would sell those for $5 or $6 a piece, what I paid for the original plant. I would turn around, and I did it with tomatoes and peppers and, just everything. My biggest sellers have always been my herbs. But this year, I'm just not going to do Saturday market. I have too many things planned. I know. But I am going to do a nice big garden. But to do that, everything has to be on a timer because I'm going to have some vacations. But the hard part is I can't get this bloody cast wet. I know. It is such a nuisance. And this is cast number 2. I had on a cast that, it's cast number 3. First one I had on, my whole arm was locked, the elbow, the whole thing. This one, the one before it and this one only comes down just to above my elbow. But they changed the cast so they can do x-rays and stuff. And everything's getting well. The brakes are mending. I had a bunch of cracks and fractures, and those are all remodeling and doing really well. And at 78, my doctor's absolutely amazed. So I don't even have to have surgery, and I'm so happy about that. But I thank you ever so much. I'm Grandma Judy. This is my aquaponic system, and this is how you can feed yourself with inexpensive plants you can pick up at the hardware store, the grocery store, and a nice little aquaponic system. Or you could just make one yourself. But I don't think you would say, I had it in my old greenhouse, and I had big 4-inch pipes, which are wonderful. But this for inside here is just perfect for me. But if you have a family of 3 or 4, or like me, 7 or 8, this might not be big enough for you. You might have to get 2. But the nice thing for me is I can grow my plants, enjoy my salads, and still take a vacation because it's all automated. Thank you. Bye-bye from Grandma Judy. All I have to do is figure out how to turn this off. I always have such a time.